Hey everyone, this will be a quick video on how to download, install, and use the planetarium software Stellarium. Again, it is open source, it is free. You can download it on a Linux system if you use those. You can download it on a Mac OS or Windows. So whichever you have, click the applicable option here and follow the download prompts. I already have it installed, so I would click Mac OS, but right now I'm not going to. It should give you an icon that looks like this at the bottom. So if you click that, it'll open up to a generic looking field in the country of a generic land. And notice we are looking south. On the left side of our window is southeast, on the right side is southwest. Right? So you can click and drag left and right. If you do not click and drag, you just move your cursor, obviously. Be careful with scrolling. If you scroll out, if you do it too much, and then you click and drag, it'll get very, very trippy. So I would advise not scrolling, at least out. You can scroll in if you'd like, but I wouldn't scroll too much. Okay? So let's put it back to more or less where it came from. Some of the basic controls on the left side here. If you're oh, it's not working. Oh, okay. On the left side, you have this window that pops out. The top option is location. Right? Notice it automatically knows that I'm in Fresno, California. You can type in any city in the world, or I believe you can actually click on the world map and it'll take you to any place in the world and the sky at this precise time. So let's go back exactly to Fresno, California. Yep, there we go. I can close out of that. If I go back over here to the date and time window, then the next one down, notice it's the exact date and time, right? July 21st, 2019, 1600 hours, 25 minutes, and 4 seconds. Okay? The next one is, let's turn that off. Next one is sky and viewing options window. Now, most of this you do not immediately need. Feel free, of course, to peruse it and experiment, but the only thing that I really use every time I open up Stellarium is this markings tab. And in here is the box ecliptic for today's date, the horizon line, and the meridian. So let's click those on and then close that box out. We'll see those are helpful in a second. The next one down is the search window. You can search for any object that you want. For example, Polaris, enter. It'll take you automatically centered with that object on your screen and give you tons of information about that object right here. Okay. The next one down, below that, configuration window. That's a bunch of stuff I don't know, so don't click that. Next one down is more information. It's not necessarily immediately useful, but it has tons and tons of information about each object, the date and time. You can do graphs of when the object has risen in the sky and just tons of information. But immediately, for right now, that's not really applicable. Below that is the help window if you need help. You can also ask me, right? At the bottom, oops, here we go. We have this menu bar with a plethora of buttons. So the first one on the far left, actually let's go to tonight to make it easier to see. Nope, 10 p.m. or rather 10:26 p.m. So let's go down and click this button. The first one on the far left is constellation lines. Right? So notice this is Ursa Major. There's the Big Dipper there, the 7 brightest stars in the constellation Ursa Major, but it gives you constellation lines. Right? You can also do constellation labels. It just labels each constellation, right? Or if you choose, you can have nice artwork. I generally don't like the artwork, or I don't use it. It just clutters the field. Next up, we have these 2 grid systems here, right? We have the equatorial grid system and the azimuthal. Notice for the equatorial grid, it has plus 90 degrees, declination, right, on the north celestial pole, and 180 from that is the south celestial pole. You can see that the lines are converging to a point down here. Right, that's the south celestial pole. 0 degrees declination, remember, look up here, there, whoops, I can't see it, -5, there it is, 0, right there. This is the celestial equator, right? 0 degrees declination. So this again is a coordinate system with respect to the sky. This is all focused and referenced from points in the sky. The other coordinate system, let's click this off and click up, the azimuthal, is referenced from points in your local sky, right, based upon wherever the observer is. So in this case, we are in Fresno, California. Our azimuthal system looks like this. And if you look straight up at the zenith, that's that point right there, or in this system, plus 90 degrees altitude, right? Altitude lines are the horizontal lines, right, going around the sky, concentric on the zenith. Lines going up and down, lines that, in other words, converge at the zenith, are lines of azimuth. So they measure how far around the sky an object is. And so altitude measures how high in the sky an object is. Altitude, again, measures objects from the observer's horizon. So 0 degrees altitude is, again, right on the horizon. So in order to see that line that I clicked on a second ago, let's go over here to the ground. So let's take the ground away and look, ooh, we're kind of floating in space, right? Kind of. So we can see the solid bright green horizon line, or 0 degrees altitude. So this is the altitude azimuth. And notice the point directly below you, it's not labeled, but that's the nadir. It is exactly opposite to the zenith. So this is one system. Let's go to the equatorial system, and it looks like this. If we overlap them, it looks like this. Really weird, right? So let's keep altitude, or the azimuthal grid on. Next button over, we have the cardinal points. You can just toggle those on and off. You have the atmosphere. If I put the ground back on, notice along the horizon, if we have the atmosphere off, you can see stars very close to the horizon. If you have the atmosphere on, it's very smoggy like Fresno normally is. Right? Next one is deep sky objects. These are basically galaxies. Right? Anything outside our galaxy, or sorry, no, incorrect. Anything outside the, well, outside the solar system, like nebulae, various star clusters, or other galaxies, right? Deep sky objects. Next one are planet labels, so that is on. So let's turn over here. Remember from class, planets tend to follow the ecliptic. Right here, there's Jupiter, there's Saturn. And if we turn, and if we take the ground off, we can see that the other planets, the moon is close to the ecliptic. Uranus is down there, all very close to the horizon. The sun even, that's the ecliptic line in orange. And they're all very close to this line because that is the projection of the plane of our solar system on our sky. So moving right along, we can switch between the two mounts. I don't really use that option. You can center on a selected object. So if I want to choose Spica, right there, I've chosen Spica. Let's do that, and it automatically centers that object on my screen. Next one is night mode. You can turn this on, say if you're outside or in a very dark sky, dark site, and you don't want to disturb your night vision. Right? You want to make it easy to see stars. And really, this viewing, a lot of blues, a lot of whites, hurts your night vision. So this is helpful if you're outside. Full screen mode, kind of self-explanatory. You can show exoplanets, right? From the Kepler spacecraft. You can show meteor showers as they come and go. You can even show a search function. I showed you that already. Satellite hints. I never really use that. I think that's just for various telecommunication satellites in passing. And then these 4 buttons affect time. So notice the date and time window there. If I hit play, it's a bit counterintuitive. It pauses time, right? So normally if I hit unpause, notice time continues on, right, at the normal sidereal rate. So you can hit reverse time, you can hit advanced time, or you can go to right now. So, whoops, let's get that information. One thing I didn't mention a while ago is that you can also click these arrows up or down for the year, month, day, or time, and you can change that by the desired time step. So if I wanted to advance the sky by 1 hour, let's look south and see how, for instance, let's see how Saturn moves if we advance by an hour. Oh, it's closer to the west, right? It's moving towards the right of our screen. If I keep going, Saturn will eventually set towards the western sky, which makes sense, right? Objects rise in the east, set in the west. You can do that for minutes, you can reverse, you can even do it for seconds, right? You can do it for months, right? But I won't really talk about changing months and seeing how the sky changes from season to season. That's for another video, so stay tuned for that. But that should be the general overview on how to use the basics for Stellarium. So again, it's free, open source, and I hope you enjoy it.